In today's class, we are going to discuss about the definition of the air, the components of the air, and what are the different components do to make up the balance of the air and the atmosphere that is surrounding our Earth's surface. Atmosphere is a layer of air which is a mixture of different gases that is surrounding the Earth's surface, and it is having a variety of mixture as we are going from the Earth's surface to the greater heights. So it is having a varying composition with the increasing height. Atmosphere is stuck to the Earth's surface by the force of gravity, and it is also helping to maintain a particular temperature condition in the Earth and also to create some weather conditions, and also it is absorbing some harmful UV rays that is coming from the sunlight, and it is making the Earth a habitable place which otherwise would not be, because the temperature would not be quite nice to live or for survival of the living organisms. Now, in case of the atmosphere, we can see different layers. The first layer is called the troposphere, which is the layer where the weather conditions are formed. It is the lowermost layer, and this is the layer where the aeroplane is flying, and this is the layer which is having the highest concentration of oxygen gas that is very essential for all the living beings. After the troposphere, there is the stratosphere, and this is the layer which is having a particular gas which is ozone as the ozone layer, and this ozone is very important as it absorbs the harmful UV radiation and cuts the exposure of excess UV radiation that is reaching the Earth's surface. After the stratosphere, there is the mesosphere. It is the first denser layer of the air that the comets and meteors that are coming from the outside of the atmosphere, they are encountering. And those mesosphere and this layer is responsible for destroying all the incoming meteors and comets, so they do not reach the Earth's surface and do any kind of harm. And it is the coldest layer as well. After the mesosphere, there is the thermosphere. Thermosphere is a very thin layer, and mostly ions are present in the thermosphere, and the satellites are also revolving around the Earth in the thermosphere. And after the thermosphere, there is the exosphere, which is the last layer of the atmosphere, and after that the Earth's gravitational field stops working, and that is the last layer of the atmosphere. Property of air as a matter is that it exerts pressure. How can we confirm that? We are taking a tin bottle or a tin can, and we are having some water inside the tin can. Now I am going to heat the whole thing, and the water inside the tin can is going to change into its vapor phase, which is the steam, and the steam is going to insert pressure inside the bottle of the or inside the wall of the tin can. Now since air expands on heating, so it is going to exert a lot of pressure inside the tin can, which is going to get equal with the air pressure that is applied on the tin can from the outside. So the tin bottle will be in perfect condition because the inside pressure and the outside pressure is equal and it is cancelling each other. But now what I am doing, I am just putting the cap on the bottle of the or on the mouth of the tin can, and the air pressure inside the tin can is brought down by pouring some cold water onto it. Because when I am putting some cold water, the steam temperature is also going down, and the expanded air is also again contracted, and the steam is going to get converted into water again with the contact of cold water. So the inside pressure or inside air pressure of the tin can, which was previously equal to the outside air pressure, is going to get lesser than the outside air pressure. And when the outside air pressure becomes higher than the inside air pressure, the outside pressure is going to crumple the tin bottle, and from this experiment and activity we can say that air is exerting pressure. Air is also highly compressible. It is the most compressible out of the three phases of the matter, that is solids, liquids and gases. How can we confirm that? We are taking a syringe which is a leak-proof syringe, and we are into the syringe we are having water in one syringe, chalk powder in another syringe and nothing but air in the third syringe. And we are just securing the mouth of the syringe with a rubber cork, so nothing that is present inside the syringe escapes the syringe. Now if we are moving the piston inside, or if we are trying to move the piston inside the syringe in all of the three syringes, we can see that the piston of the syringe which is having gas is moving the maximum. Then the piston which is having water is moving second, and the syringe which is having the chalk powder, the piston is not moving at all. So from this experiment or activity, we can say that the solids are the least compressible, water is the second most compressible, and air is the highly compressible or highest compressible, because the intermolecular distance is very high in case of gases or air, and the intermolecular force of attraction is also very less, which is the least among the three phases of matter. The components of the air varies with different conditions, but on a whole we can separate the components. In a pie chart, it would look like the 78% or the blue portion, which is almost 4/5 of the whole air composition, is consisting of nitrogen gas, which is the inactive component of the air. Then 20.9% or 20.6%, that is the yellow portion of the pie chart, is consisting of the oxygen gas. The other gases, which is the orange portion, is a little bit greater than 0.17%. Argon is a neutral gas or a noble gas, as we can say. It is the green portion and it is accounting for a little greater than 0.9%. And carbon dioxide is present at a percentage of 0.3. Water vapor, dust particles, some other polluting gases, all of these are present, but the amount is very, very less or negligible. We can see the variations in composition of air in different conditions. The first one is at higher altitude. So with increasing altitude, the composition of the air varies, because the air becomes more lighter, and the composition of oxygen or concentration of oxygen in higher altitudes become very, very less. So the mountaineers always carry oxygen cylinders when they are going for some summits in the higher altitudes. So there is more oxygen concentration in the lower altitude and less oxygen concentration in the higher altitude. The amount of oxygen is getting scarcer with increasing height. In case of deep seas, there is also less oxygen. Like deep sea, that means a very, very great depth inside the sea, which is almost totally dark, and it is having very less oxygen concentration. So the divers that are going to the great depths of the sea, they are also carrying oxygen cylinders along with them. And in industrial areas that are having a lot of gas emissions, they are having a lot of impurities which are great in amount, like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, and the dust particles or the smoke and the smog, all of them is higher in case of industrial areas. But if we see some area with a lot of greenery around, they will have all of these gases in very, very less amount. So the variation in composition of the air can be seen depending on different situations or locations. Nitrogen gas is present as the 4/5 of the whole air composition. But nitrogen is very important for the growth of the plants and all the living beings. but it cannot be used very directly by the plants. We need some helpers in between for the utilization of nitrogen. The process by which nitrogen is going to get fixed into some soluble form in the soil is called nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation can happen in two ways. One is called the biological way and another is called the non-biological way. The biological way of nitrogen fixation is done by a particular bacteria which is called the rhizobium, which is living in the root nodules of leguminous plants like pea, beans, etc. They are going to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into soluble nitrate forms in the soil, which is going to get absorbed by the plant, and the plant is going to use that nitrate. Non-biological nitrogen fixation takes place in the rainy season or during the storms by the lightning process. It is also going to go through some chemical reactions and fix the nitrogen into soluble nitrate form, which is going to get used by the plant, and by eating some plant parts, the animals are also going to get access to that nitrogen. Oxygen is the gas which is the most crucial for the survival of and existence of all the living organism. Oxygen is used by two processes. One is called the cellular respiration, that is we are respiring oxygen and it is going to be used inside our cells to oxidize or burn the glucose and produce energy in the form of ATP, which is going to be used by all our cells to perform different actions. Oxygen is also used in the burning process to produce carbon dioxide, water and heat and light energy. We cannot do or we cannot burn something without the presence of oxygen. Now, how oxygen is supplemented in the atmosphere? It is supplemented by the process of photosynthesis, which is actually giving out oxygen in the atmosphere and taking in carbon dioxide.